Welcome back to Hydroponics Daily. Today we're going to talk about factors to consider when looking to site your grow room, especially indoor growers. There are a number of factors to consider before you go out there and purchase all of your equipment, and they're all very important. The first one is ceiling height. This will determine how much room you've got for your grow, and certain plants, like the ones that can't be named, require very high ceilings, so it'll be at least 2 meters normally to get your crop to harvest. Things like tomatoes, cucumbers, even more. Always go for a larger tent than you think you're going to need, because simply the size of air in there makes it a lot easier to control the environment. If you've got a really small tent, the smaller the tent, the harder it is to control temperature and humidity. You might think a smaller tent requires less energy to heat and control the humidity. That's not true. If you look at the greenhouses that they use to grow tomatoes and cucumbers commercially, they're really, really tall, and they're really tall for a reason, and that's because it's easy to control temperature and humidity in a really tall greenhouse. Conventional wisdom until about the 90s was smaller greenhouse, cheaper to grow, but you'll see that those smaller greenhouses have gone out and replaced by what are called Venlo greenhouses, where you can control it. So always go for a much larger one. The minimum I would use would be like 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. I don't know what that is in feet. Is that 5 foot? Comment below if you know that's 5 foot, maybe even less. And then 2 meters tall, and 2.2. You can get 2.2 grow tents as well. So that's important. But also you want to have room around your grow tent, because there's vents going in and out, and it's really, if you make it too large, you can't get in and around, and that will be an issue for maintaining your tent, changing things as you go through the grow, but also getting your tent up will be very difficult if you try and cram it in. You've got to factor in where the air is coming from, fresh air. That if you're not using CO2 infusion, you're going to need fresh air with fresh CO2 coming in, and you're going to get that stale air out, and you're going to need a vent to do that. You might need to install a vent. You're going to get some water. Even if you're not having an automated irrigation system fed directly from a pipe, you're still going to need to water that crop, and so you're going to need to get the water from somewhere. That's a problem here. Our grow rooms are on the first floor, and we don't have a tap, which means we have to have a very complicated hose system in when we grow, when we water our plants once a week. Electricity, where is the electricity coming from? This is where most grows. When you see a report of a fire in a hydroponic unit, it's because the electricity's been ballsed up, not been done properly, and there's lots of hanging wires and things like that. And a combination of water and electricity, that's a recipe you don't want to mix. And so keeping all the electrics away from all the water is always important, and that leads on to safety. Not just on the electricity and the water, heat as well, fire alarms, things like this you want to consider, and keeping it away from children and pets and things like this, or other safety items. If you're not going to use something like gold leaf, which is pH perfect, then you're going to need to use pH up and down, which are extremely hazardous chemicals, and not to be messed with, and not to be kept anywhere around children and anyone who is vulnerable. And then the other one is grow media movement. If you're using something like a soil, living soil, things like this, they're extremely heavy. And if you're on the 5th floor and there's no lift or elevator, then you're going to be in trouble. So there are probably other factors I've not considered here. So if I've missed something, leave a friendly comment below, ripping the absolute crap out of me, and I'll take it in good spirit. Thank you very much.